What's up investors, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about a merger that I've been keeping an eye on for months now, and it finally looks like it's going to happen in the next few weeks. So let's talk about the deal between Nasdaq listed company Torchlight to bring MetaMaterials public. In this video I will be focusing mainly on MetaMaterials, because this reverse merger is all about MetaMaterials going public, similar to the way lots of companies go public through SPACs. After the merger, the new company will be MetaMaterials and trade under the ticker MMAT. So stick around and let me explain to you what I think of this merger. I think you're going to like what I have to say. If you follow my channel, you know the format of my videos. So first we're going to be looking at Meta and their potential market. Then we'll look at the management team and the very latest news. We'll do some technical analysis and see if there's any analyst buy ratings, before we look at the financials and I give you my conclusion on Meta. Before we get into the video, if you like the content, can I ask you to smash the like button? It literally costs nothing, but it helps me out so much. I'm aiming for 150 likes in this video. Help me make it happen. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification, so you never miss out on any new content like this. And again, it's 100% free and a great way to show your support for the channel. What do you think of Meta, and what do you consider to be a fair value for this stock? I want to point out I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Now let's get into it. So first, let's take a quick look at Torchlight, and after this I won't be mentioning them again. Basically, Torchlight is a junior oil and gas company that was primarily involved in the exploration of oil. However, in my opinion, the most valuable asset that Torchlight possess right now is the fact that they are Nasdaq listed. As we know, for many companies the IPO process can be very expensive, and going public through a reverse merger, usually with a SPAC, can be very beneficial for a target company as it cuts out a lot of the expense. Post-merger, Torchlight shareholders still maintain exposure to oil and gas assets and will receive a pro rata share of any net proceeds generated from the sale or disposition of the assets, in addition to receiving 25% of the combined business. So who are MetaMaterials? Meta is a smart materials company that is changing the way we use, interact and benefit from light. Through applied physics, advanced design, they are pioneering a new class of multifunctional materials called MetaMaterials. Meta design and manufacture functional materials that are more sustainable, higher performing and cost less than competitors' products. They are creating disruptive technologies that are on the leading edge of the next industrial revolution. They have a strong research and development team, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Meta has a scalable revenue and business model with multiple revenue streams, as we can see here, such as license fee, master supply, royalties, equipment supply, raw material supply, and a service contract of which Meta owns the intellectual properties. This is fantastic, as we see this is recurring revenue stream. And as we can see here, this merger will make Meta the Nasdaq's first ever MetaMaterials company, giving them first mover advantage. Meta have many product ranges such as NanoWeb, Meta Optics and Meta Air, and these are used across a range of different industries including aerospace, defense, automotive, medical and consumer electronics. The NanoWeb technology is a transparent conductor made of metal mesh so thin that it is effectively invisible to the human eye. The design of this mesh allows for a highly conductive and transparent layer which is able to operate using very little power while remaining transparent. As we can see here, this technology gives many competitive advantages. As well as being invisible to the human eye, touch sensors and transparent 5G antennas can be integrated into smartphone displays on windows of vehicles or buildings. This slide shows the transparent conductive film provides de-icing and defogging in the use of both radar and LiDAR on autonomous vehicles. And Meta's transparent window film would transform outdoor 5G coverage. The problem here is the highest speed 5G signals need line of sight. Meta's transparent window film would reflect the signal to cover dead zones and therefore save billions of dollars on 5G infrastructure. And Meta's invisible antenna could be used to enhance indoor 5G and digital TV reception. Meta breaks its technology down into 6 different sections: MetaMaterials and functional surfaces, holography, lithography, wireless sensing, custom solutions, and intellectual property. For use in many different applications across the aerospace and defense, automotive, medical and consumer electronics industries, where their innovations extend to anti-reflection, de-icing, defogging, solar cells in the energy industry, non-invasive monitoring, as well as breakthrough MRI imaging capabilities in the medical industry, augmented reality in the consumer electronics industry, and transparent EMI shielding and laser glare protection in the aerospace and defense industry. MetaAir was developed in partnership with leading aviation industry company Airbus, where they develop multi-layer holographic film for use on lenses, helmets, and any kind of eyewear that gives maximum protection from lasers while giving maximum transparency. Although this was developed in conjunction with Airbus and tested by pilots, this technology can be used across any industry that would involve needing eye protection from lasers. Airbus are not the only major partner that Meta have. Just look here at this partnership page. We can see that they have partnerships with many global companies such as Samsung, Sony, and Boeing, to name just a few. For any technology company, one of the most important aspects for the company going forward is that they have their technology patented. Meta has 89 filed patents, 54 granted across 28 patent families. They have 5 registered trademarks, and their processes and methods were patented early, providing multi-year advantage over the competition. And the company's new Interglass acquisition added another 70 plus patents. Finally, 2021 will be a big year for Meta. Not only are they going public next month, subject to a shareholder vote, but we can see here their application roadmap for the near term, and all the different sectors that they will have potential revenue streams coming from. But they will also initiate roll-to-roll production equipment operational by year-end 21 to mid-22, as well as the expansion, the equipment and cleanroom labs operational by the fourth quarter of this year and into the first half of next year. Now let's look at the management team at Meta. This is a seriously impressive team led by CEO, President and Founder George Palikaras. Over the past 10 years, he's forged partnerships with Fortune 500 companies, enabling Meta to develop and lead disruptive technologies in aerospace, medical, automotive, clean tech, and consumer electronics industries. He was named 2018 Endeavor Entrepreneur, and 2017 he was on the 40 Under 40 list and has been named as Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst & Young. This is all very impressive. He has also received numerous prestigious industry awards, including the 2019 Global Cleantech 100, and his startups have developed strong IP portfolios with over 150 patents. He has a computer engineering degree, a master's in digital communication systems, and a PhD in MetaMaterials Science with over 40 journal publications. And he is the named inventor of 30 patents. He has also worked as a researcher at Queen Mary University in London in wearable and implantable sensors development, and counts Stanford and Harvard Business School in his education. This is all very impressive. Then we have Chief Science Officer and co-founder Thimo Kalos. He is an experienced electrical engineer with expertise in applied physics, metamaterials, wireless communications, and electromagnetic stimulants, a PhD in electrical engineering, has over 10 years of experience in applied physics engineering, a project management. He was a winner of the 2009 IEEE Doctoral Thesis Prize of Nuclear and Plasma Sciences Society. He has filed 28 patent applications and authored over 50 publications in applied physics, electromagnetics, and metamaterials. Then we have Chief Technology Officer Jonathan Waldron, who brings over 25 years of experience as an inventor of over 170 patents to date, principally in extended reality, waveguide displays, holographic materials, and manufacturing processes. And he holds a PhD in computer science virtual reality. For anyone who's interested in the rest of the team at Meta, I highly recommend checking out their website at metamaterials.com/about us/leadership. This is definitely one of the most impressive teams I've seen in any company that I've reviewed on the channel so far. Between them, they have centuries of experience and loads of PhDs in several fields. Now, let's get on to some recent news. The next few months are going to be major for MetaMaterials. First, we had the announcement just the other day from Torchlight, when they announced that stockholders representing 46% of the Torchlight shares eligible to vote at the special meeting is to be held on June 11th. This will be a virtually held meeting. Once the shareholders vote to go ahead with the merger should be completed within a matter of days. This will be a major catalyst, and I see the price of both Torchlight and Meta rising in the coming weeks up to this date and jumping up on completion of the merger. In other news, Meta are to exhibit laser glare protection solution at upcoming law enforcement trade shows. We spoke about this technology when we talked about Meta Air. Meta will be exhibiting at 5 upcoming law enforcement trade shows: NSA in Phoenix in June, TAC Ops South July in Nashville, the Police Security Expo in August Atlantic City, TAC Ops East September Washington DC, and IACP in September in New Orleans. This will not only bring a huge amount of exposure to Meta, but it also opens Meta up to potential law enforcement partnerships in the US. As usual with OTC or foreign listed companies, it's very difficult to find any analyst ratings or price targets for the stock. But when we look here at Simply Wall Street, we can see the ownership breakdown to give us a view of the company. As we can see here, the general public owns less than 50% of the outstanding shares, with individual insiders, private companies, venture capitalist firms and institutions owning over 50%. When we look at the top shareholders, 23% is owned by Thomas Welsh, aka Victory Park Capital, Lambda Guard Technologies, Nova Scotia Innovation, Caldwell Investment Management make up nearly half of the ownership of this company. So when we look here at the charts, we can see that huge run that MetaMaterials went on late last year from around 20 cents up to over $3 in March. In February, we've seen so many technology stocks and growth stocks drop from all-time highs, losing up to 50% of their valuation. Meta, on the other hand, bucked that trend, reaching heights of over $3.50 in March and has been trading sideways for over 2 months. This gives me great confidence in this stock because this stock has the ability to hold its own value even in a very bearish market that we've been in for the last couple of months. Even from a swing trading perspective, this stock has provided many opportunities over the past few months to gain at least 20% moving in this sideways channel. So moving on to the financials. Now I won't dwell on the financials too much here because this is a company that's in its very early growth stage. This only became listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange a little over 12 months ago. They currently have pretty much no revenue, and I don't feel the financials do the company justice. The first thing I want to point out is that the financial statements are audited by Big Four firm KPMG. So we can be fairly confident of the opinion of this very reputable firm regarding the financial statements giving a true and fair view of the company. As always guys, in my videos, you can count on me talking about any concerns that I have as well. In other videos I have mentioned where the auditors of certain companies have raised concerns over the company's ability to continue as a going concern. Now KPMG have come to the conclusion that there is material uncertainty related to going concern. But just to put this in perspective, these accounts are for year end 2020 and on the basis of Meta continuing as Meta and not going into a merger. So this material uncertainty regarding the going concern is not a concern. If this merger didn't take place, then Meta would have to raise funds from elsewhere. But because of this merger, this has a huge effect on this material uncertainty ever arising. And we'll get into that now when we look at the financials. So looking at the balance sheet, we can see that the company has current assets of 13 million, of which 1.7 million is made up of cash. And we have total liabilities of 24 million, of which a lot of this is made up of long-term debentures and debt. Overall, Meta has close to twice as much liabilities as assets. This is quite concerning, however, it's a similar story for 2019. Now looking at the statement of profit and loss, we can see that they have practically zero product sales and development revenue of 1.5 million, of which Meta do actually produce a very high gross profit margin. This is something that I like. It shows that the products that they develop can be profitable. However, the company has got massive expenses, which then lead to an overall loss of nearly $20 million. Overall, this is very concerning. Even for an early stage growth company, these sorts of losses are not sustainable for any period of time. If the company wasn't about to merge, I would suspect they would have to dilute shares very significantly in the very near future. However, when we look at Torchlight's most recent financials, we can see that they currently have assets of $56 million, of which $13 million is made up of cash and $10 million in receivable notes. This is actually a $10 million loan from Torchlight to MetaMaterials, which in total mean that once the merger is complete, MetaMaterials will have significant amount of cash runway. So guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Before I give you my final thoughts on the Torchlight MetaMaterials merger, if you've watched all the way through, then please hit that like button. It takes more time than you could imagine to research these companies and make these videos. I hope you enjoyed the content and I hope you found value in this video. If you're new to the channel, remember to hit that subscribe button and bell notification. I'll be running a competition with prizes next month for subscribers. Like and subscribe to take part. More details in the coming weeks, and leave a comment down below to say that you've liked and subscribed so that I know. So what do I think? MetaMaterials is a company with a big future in my opinion. This is one I've had my eye on for several months after the big run up late last year. A lot of companies that are traded on the OTC that had run-ups just like this tend to be wholly owned by the general public and therefore very easily manipulated into pump and dump. However, this is not the case with MetaMaterials. As we've seen, the general public owns less than 50% of the company, with institutions and investment firms owning the majority of the shares. This is possibly one of the reasons why Meta has not suffered the same crash in the market over the last few months. I am very excited to see what the future holds for Meta. When we look at their investors page, we can see that they have total addressable markets over the coming decade that are absolutely huge, such as $333 billion of a solar market and over $500 billion in the automotive EV market. These projections do align closely with other projections I've seen while researching other companies for the channel, so I think that for Meta to even attain a small percentage of the market would be incredible. My only concern at the moment will be how much time it will take them to begin to see revenues, and then how long it will take to turn these losses into profit. It's worth noting here that Meta's accounts are in Canadian dollars, not US dollars, whilst Torchlight's are in US dollars. I see this as a very good opportunity to buy into the stock before the merger date arrives, and judging by the charts that I looked at a moment ago, I would suggest that if this stock was to drop to about 260, I would consider this an incredible entry point, but this is just my opinion. If anyone is thinking about buying this stock, I encourage you to form your own opinion through research and do not take this video in any way as financial advice. Thanks for watching the video. What are your thoughts on the future of MetaMaterials and what are your price targets? Leave a comment down below and I'll catch you in the next one.